You already eat better than most people. You read labels, you choose whole grain, you grab the low-fat yogurt instead of the regular one, you pick juice over soda. And here's the uncomfortable truth Harvard's nutrition data keeps showing. Some of the foods we've been told are healthy are silently aging us at the cellular level. Not junk food, not obvious bad choices. The five I'm about to show you are on virtually every mainstream healthy eating list. One is aging your arteries, one is disrupting your gut bacteria, one becomes toxic when you cook with it, one is bonding glucose to your proteins right now, and one, the fifth, operates through a mechanism so counterintuitive that nutritionists still argue about it. Stay through three. That one surprises almost everyone. Here's why this matters more than most nutrition content. You'll see. You can exercise every day, sleep 8 hours, manage your stress, and still be aging faster than you should because of what's quietly happening in your kitchen. So, cellular inflammation, glycation, and oxidative damage don't show up on any single bad day. They compound over months, over years, and one day they appear as metabolic dysfunction, cognitive decline, or cardiovascular disease. The reason these five foods are dangerous isn't that they're obviously bad, it's that you think they're fine. That's exactly what makes them worth a careful look. So let's go through all five, starting with the ones sitting in most American refrigerators right now. And if you make it to four, I'll tell you the single most impactful swap you can make. It takes about 10 seconds and addresses three aging mechanisms at once. This one is the hardest sell because it feels so healthy. A glass of store-bought orange juice, even 100% natural, no added sugar, delivers 25 to 30 grams of rapidly absorbed sugar with zero fiber to slow it down. What happens next is called glycation. Glucose molecules bond to proteins in your body, forming compounds called advanced glycation end products. Ages. They stiffen arteries. They wrinkle skin from the inside. They impair brain function over time. The whole orange, categorically different. The fiber matrix slows everything down. Same nutrients, completely different biological response. Eat the orange. Don't drink it. The juice industry has been marketing this as health food for 50 years. The biology tells a different story. This one gets people because they genuinely believe they made the better choice. Most store-bought whole grain bread has a glycemic index between 70 and 74. White bread, 71 to 75. They are almost identical in terms of blood sugar impact. Here's why. Whole grains that have been milled into fine flour lose their fiber matrix. The grain is technically present, but the structure that makes it beneficial has been destroyed. The tell is in the ingredients. If the first or second ingredient says enriched flour or just wheat flour, it's not a meaningful whole grain product. Period. What you're actually looking for: intact grain kernels, cracked wheat, rye berries, oat groats. That's what slows absorption. That's what feeds your gut microbiome. Most breads in the bread aisle don't have them. Three is the one that took me the longest to accept because the logic behind it seems so reasonable for decades. Stick with me. They are almost identical in terms of blood sugar impact. Here's why. Whole grains that have been milled into fine flour lose their fiber matrix. The grain is technically present, but the structure that makes it beneficial has been destroyed. The tell is in the ingredients. If the first or second ingredient says enriched flour or just wheat flour, it's not a meaningful whole grain product. Period. What you're actually looking for: intact grain kernels, cracked wheat, rye berries, oat groats. That's what slows absorption. That's what feeds your gut microbiome. Most breads in the bread aisle don't have them. Three is the one that took me the longest to accept because the logic behind it seems so reasonable for decades. Stick with me. Low-fat yogurt was born from a hypothesis. Dietary fat drives heart disease. That hypothesis has been substantially revised by the research of the last 20 years. And what replaced fat in low-fat yogurt? Sugar. Lots of it. A typical flavored low-fat yogurt container has 15 to 25 grams of added sugar. Chronically elevated blood sugar is metabolically far more damaging than the saturated fat in full-fat dairy. Here's the flip side. Plain full-fat Greek yogurt is one of the most longevity-aligned foods you can eat. More protein, genuine live probiotic cultures, not the token bacteria count in flavored varieties. Zero added sugar, and the fat slows absorption, which is exactly what you want. The swap is easy. Plain Greek yogurt, add your own fresh berries. You get sweetness, polyphenols, and a completely different metabolic response. This is the kind of change the food industry never wants you to make because processed yogurt has a 35% higher margin than plain. Real quick, if this is the kind of content you want to keep seeing, hit subscribe right now. We publish every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, always built on real research. No supplements to sell, no agenda. The button is right there. Takes 2 seconds. Now, 4 is the one that's in most American kitchens, and most people have no idea what it becomes when it gets hot. Canola oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, these are in almost every packaged food and in most home kitchens. And the problem isn't what they are called, it's what they become when you cook with them. At temperatures above their small point, these oils oxidize. They produce inflammatory compounds called aldehydes and lipid peroxides. You're inhaling them, you're eating them, and they're driving systemic, low-grade inflammation, the mechanism underlying most age-related chronic disease. There's also a ratio problem. The modern American diet has an omega-6 to omega-3 ratio of about 20 to 1. The research-backed ideal is closer to 4 to 1. The fix, extra virgin, cold-pressed olive oil for most cooking, avocado oil for high heat. Both are stable at temperature, and both have decades of longevity research behind them. This is not a minor tweak. Shifting your oil is shifting your inflammatory baseline, and inflammation is the clock that speeds up aging. 5 is the one that shocked me most when I dug into the research because it's literally marketed as a health product. Turn over any popular protein bar and read the ingredients. You'll find isolated processed proteins, high fructose corn syrup or sugar alcohols, seed oil fillers, artificial flavors, a fiber source that doesn't behave like whole food fiber. The average health bar has 25 to 35 ingredients. And here's the test that cuts through all the marketing. If you can't picture what the ingredient looks like in nature, it's ultra-processed. Your body doesn't process ultra-processed food the same way it processes real food. The gut microbiome responds differently. Satiety hormones respond differently. Inflammation markers respond differently. The whole food alternative, a handful of mixed nuts and a piece of fruit, or plain Greek yogurt with berries. 3 ingredients, not 35. The bar industry has built a billion-dollar business on the word protein. The research on what actually happens inside your body tells a different story. You don't need to eliminate all 5 this week. That's not how lasting change works. Pick the one most present in your daily diet and make the swap over the next 2 weeks. The single highest impact swap if you only do one, flavored, low-fat yogurt, plain full-fat Greek yogurt with fresh berries. One change that addresses glycation, gut microbiome quality, and polyphenol intake simultaneously. The second most impactful, vegetable oils, extra virgin olive oil. You lower your omega-6-3 ratio, you lower your inflammatory baseline, and it compounds over months. The rule of thumb for everything else, if the ingredient list has more than 5-6 items you can't picture in nature, it's ultra-processed. An ultra-processed food is the fastest dietary path to accelerated biological aging we know of. Stack these changes slowly, build permanently. Which of these 5 surprised you most? Drop it in the comments. I read every one. And if you've already made any of these swaps, tell me what you noticed. Those real-world stories are the most valuable thing in this comment section. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Next Tuesday is the video people have been asking about since week 1. The complete longevity protocol from morning to night. Everything we've covered, habits, diet, sleep, stress, movement, assembled into one daily practice you can actually follow. I'll see you Tuesday.